Welcome back everyone, this is MandoAllDay, back to another video, and in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Punchline, the Gotham game hardcover. I'll be talking about a little bit of story, the art, and of course, if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not only support the channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So let's take a look at front of the dust jacket, the spine, the back, and I'll show you a full spread image of the art. Front of the book, the spine, the back, and I'll show you a full spread image of the art. It looks pretty cool. Alright, now let's take a look at what's inside. So, what is this book about? So the book starts off with Punchline being released from jail and is out in the streets of Gotham. So now she plans to take over Gotham. So she teams up with the Royal Flush Gang by creating a new drug called XO. The story progresses, Punchline starts taking over Gotham, but begins to create enemies and shuffle some feathers, as they say. And that is the gist of the story. With that said, the book is entertaining. That's pretty much it. That's all I can really say. Because the story itself is pretty darn predictable. I mean, how many times have you ever heard of a villain taking over the city and creates a drug? Again, it's very by the numbers, which it's fine, but a bit disappointing because I like the character Punchline. I think Punchline, the look is good and interesting. Also, to her history is simple, but it makes sense. And there's something there. There's something there you can make something out of Punchline, make her unique. But if they continue giving this kind of storyline where she just wants to take over Gotham and starts becoming essentially a drug dealer, it kind of lessens her character, if that makes sense. And so it's not a bad story. It's just very, very predictable story. I mean, you can guess how it's going to end. And I'm telling you, the moment you kind of guess, okay, this is what's going to happen, I guarantee you it's going to end like that. But apart from that, though, the story and the one-dimensional character development of Punchline, the book is fun. It's entertaining. It is action-packed, so I like that. But again, the story and premise, it's very, very simple and very by the numbers. I mean, just think about it. She creates a new drug. She starts selling it. Who gets involved? Batman. Also, she starts creating other enemies that are trying to take over Gotham. I'm sure you can figure out who she starts getting in a fight with. Again, very predictable story, which is a bit disappointing, but it is a fun story, so I can't really hate on that. There is some cameos from other characters, especially other Batman family, which is like Bluebird, which I like, and Nightwing. But for the most part, it's going to be, of course, going to be Punchline. They tried to do some character depth to certain character, but to me, it didn't really work. It's just kind of like, okay, whatever. Paper quality is matte, so you know me with matte paper, which is fine, but it is matte paper. And I think with particular art, I think the matte paper it's fine. The art's good. Some moments is really, really good, but for the most part, the art, I would say, it's just good overall. Pacing. The pacing is above average. Sometimes it does dip into the average territory, but for the most part, it's going to be slightly above average. I will say, though, the first issue, it does drag a little bit, but once you get past that first issue, the story definitely does pick up, and you just keep going with the story. And like I said, the story premise is pretty darn simple, so you can catch on pretty quickly. Do you need to have prior knowledge? Not really. This does take place post the Punchline trial of Alexis hardcover, and also Catwoman as well too, but you really don't need to read those books because they do reference what happens in those stories, or books I should say, but you're perfectly fine, and the references are very, very subtle, very, very short. I mean, there's one sentence where she mentions about going to jail and the history of she liking Joker. Again, it's something so simple, if you don't read it, you're fine. Like, I have not read the whole Catwoman story, so when that part of the book happens or occurs, I wasn't lost. I was like, oh, okay, something happened between Punchline and Catwoman, cool, whatever. So overall, what do I give this book? Honestly, I give it a low thumbs up. Even though the story and the premise is pretty darn simple, even though they make Punchline just one-dimensional drug dealer essentially, I still had a good time with the book. It is action-packed, like I said. It's cool to see they're using Bluebird, the character, and also using Batman and Nightwing. And again, the action is pretty fun and straightforward, but I will say, though, it is predictable. So as long as you set your expectations accordingly, I think you're going to have a good time. So with that said, what do I give Punchline, the Gotham Game hardcover? I give it a low thumbs up. Again, set your expectations accordingly. I think you have a good time. If you're going into this book to really get a better understanding of Punchline, you're going to be disappointed. If you're getting into this book just to really read an in-depth story, you're going to be disappointed. But if you just want to read a story that involves Punchline, the character, and a lot of action, this is going to be for you. Let me know what you guys think. Have you read this book? Do you plan on reading this book? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to not only support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. This includes an overview of Punchline, the Gotham Game hardcover, and on to the next one.